going on, guys? This is Qazi. This is episode 3 of grading your footage. And if you want to know how to submit your footage for this particular series, watch episode 2. It's gonna be up here somewhere. So let me just take you back and talk about why is grading so important, especially in this day and age, okay? Back in the day, film cameras shot on film stock, so you just picked the look before you went into filming whatever it is that you were gonna work on. You shot it and that's the way it looked, okay? Then you talk about ENG cameras, you know, cameras that were used to shoot sporting events or TV. Back in the day was just Rec 709. That was the look for broadcast, and that's what it was shot in, the natural look, and the way you would light it, that's how you're gonna get it. Like basically what the director or DP saw on site, that's what it looked like. But that all changed after DI. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was the first movie that was fully digitally color graded, and then afterwards the list goes on, and you can easily see it that every era started to have its own look, and then we moved on to the Transformer look, the teal and orange, and then now we got Mad Max and Joker or John Wick. So as the time goes on, color grading becomes one of the pivotal parts of storytelling, okay? So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because grading without purpose is just a cheap Instagram filter. You get what I'm saying? Like if you don't have a thought behind it, and if it doesn't really support the story, then it's just like flicking through like whatever looks cool, and then you just slap it on and move on. And it doesn't really serve any purpose. And then a year from now, you're gonna look at it and it's gonna feel dated, and you're gonna be like really feeling embarrassed that why did you even do that? But if there's purpose behind it, if you go in with a game plan, that's a whole another story. This is what's happening here. So this is grading your footage, meaning it's not necessarily part of the project that I worked on or something like that. These are just shots given to me, and then I get to pick whichever one I'm gonna use it for this series. And in this particular example, I am the director. I'm grading the shot, I'm a colorist, I am creating the narrative in my head. And this particular one is inspired by the situation we're all going through. So I'm looking at this as we're stuck in this pandemic, it's a post-apocalyptic time, and these two dudes are in the outer space on some other planet looking for a cure. So what are some of the color palettes that come to my mind? What I'm thinking about is Interstellar, when they go to get Dr. Mann, and then I'm also thinking about the movie Book of Eli. So I'm taking these two different color palettes and I'm kind of putting them together, but you're gonna see I'm not gonna be using those references. This is basically based on my own database in my head, how I picture those movies, and then I'm gonna cook up a palette based on that. And you're gonna see that where we're gonna start to where we're gonna end up is gonna be absolutely bonkers, but it's gonna be probably one of the easiest grades that I've built here. So in your head, you might think, man, what just happened? This must be a 40 node grade. It's not. It's one of the simplest things that I've done, and the way I'm gonna build this, you can take this and apply it to your entire project, or at least to an entire scene without it breaking apart. So are you guys pumped? Are you guys ready? And for those that want to level up their color grading game, check out the link in the description. 1 hour long free training where I will show you how to get the perfect skin tones out of your Sony S-Log 8-bit footage, how to get the clean white look, it's the go-to commercial look, how to get the creamy film look, how to fix the dreaded gamma shift, and much more. Link is in the description. And guys, 3 days ago, we were able to hit 50K on this channel. I want to thank each and every one of you. This means everything to me. Honestly, it's such an exciting platform, and it's a new chapter in my life, and one that I am having a blast being a part of. So thank you so much for that. Make sure to smash that like button if you're enjoying the content. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Check out my Instagram page. I'm posting banger content there every single day. Let's roll the intro. Before we even get to grading, I want to give a shout out to Depicted Time for hooking me up with such an epic clip that we're going to be working on. Let's get right to it. I am genuinely so excited about this particular tutorial. You guys are going to be picking up some insane tips. First of all, let's just analyze the shot. This particular clip is shot on the DJI X5S, shot in 4K 10-bit DNG RAW format. And here is the RAW tab. This is your best friend here, because if you look at the scopes right now in its current state, its highlights are blowing out. I mean, there's just not much that we can do with this image, okay? It's gone. Everything here is absolutely gone. But this is the beauty of the RAW module. When you shoot something in RAW, you're going to have this tab and these options available. So right now it's set to the project setting. I can also set it to camera metadata or the Cinema DNG default. So that is another setting. Or even better, we can set it to clip, which is what I want. I want full control here, okay? So I want it in this, and then I want to change the color space. I don't want the color space to be Rec 709. I want it to be Blackmagic Design, so it's in log. Very cool. Now we can work with this. It doesn't look blown out. It's not out of control anymore. That said, it's still not perfect because you see these straight lines, that does show clipping, okay? So even if it's giving you the illusion that it's not clipped, you can see clearly here that this shot is clipped. So what can we do to go around it? This button right here, your life will never be the same. When I hit this button, look what happens to the top end of this shot. Boom. And just even look at the image right here. So let's do it again. I'm going to turn it off. Look, it's just grayed out and it's mushy. I click right here. Boom, it just opens it up. It opens it up so much, not all the way. You can still see a little bit of like a straight line there, but God, it's so much better than this. All right, so this is what we have to work with. Let's just jump right in and let's analyze the image for half a second and see what am I trying to create here. Okay, so we have plenty to work with. You can really see the dynamic range that's been exercised, right? So we got the hottest point, we got pretty dark points, you know, in this black part of the clothing that they're wearing. And then we got dark skies, and then we got dark sand. So there's so much that we can play with. Now, as I said that I'm going to be creating something really dramatic as if they're on a different planet, then at that point, the sand doesn't need to look like the color of the sand. And that's exactly what's going to be happening here. We're going to be manipulating all these colors to get something really surreal out of this world. Potential things that can really take this look to a whole another level that you have to watch out for when you're building really creative looks is what you can latch on, you know? So here, I see a great opportunity right there in the sky. I can do so many cool things and add so much color into the sky and just really make that the highlight of this entire shot, and then have the rest of the shot be, say, a supporting cast, if you will. Our characters are wearing white, which means it's going to be pretty easy to sort of isolate them and really pop them out in the image if necessary, right? Or we can just go the Roger Deakins and Mitch Paulson route and just have a very natural feel other than overdoing everything. Let's just jump right in after keeping all these things in mind. Okay, so first node is going to be my exposure. So I'm going to leave that for my exposure. Next node is going to be my balance. After that, I'm going to do some desaturation. So desat. And then after that, we're going to work on our sky. And then I'm going to do a parallel. And this is going to be my look node. Okay, this is where we're going to create a really cool look. And then afterwards, we're going to have another node. Now, this node is going to be for my talent and outside node by right-clicking, going to add node, outside node. And then this one is going to be a vignette. And this time, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so it is a very clean, very streamlined node tree structure that you can easily apply to your entire scene if you are creating this extreme look. First thing that I'm going to show you, you've seen me use the contrast tool as a starting point. I always showed you that. What we never messed around with or as much is with pivot. And think of pivot as time. So when it goes to 0, I want you to think of 0 as high noon. And as the numbers go higher, it gets darker, okay? So if I give it some contrast, I'm going to give you, just for the sake of it, let me just give you an example. So let's just add some contrast like so. Let's just keep it somewhere around here. Cool contrast, right? If I take this and, like I said, high noon, if I go to the left, look how much brighter it gets. Let's undo that. If I go to the right, Look how much darker it gets. So you get what I'm saying? Think of it as time. This will really, really help you, okay? When you go to the left, it's noon. That is going to be the brightest part. You go to the right, it's going to get darker. So this to me is a sunset. Sun is going down and I don't want it to be really bright. So what do we have to do? We have to go to the right. I am going to, for my starting point, set it at somewhere around 7, okay? And now this is looking pretty good. I mean, this is like Deacons-esque Sicario, if you will. You know, it's looking pretty good. I can go into my contrast and start moving it around a little bit to see if I want to take it somewhere else. But really, I like something like that. And then I'm going to pump the contrast a little more, not too much, really gentle. Okay, I think this is a great starting point. Tons of detail. Just look at that. Nothing is lost. Nothing is crushed. It's really good. Great starting point. I'm going to go into my balance. And now I'm just looking at this. And I kind of want to just balance my image out. Like I want to bring the reds down and, you know, not have so much red dominant image and just balance it out. So I'm going to start with my gain first. I'm going to lower it. I'm going to take it to the left and just really get it in the ballpark somewhere around here. Then I'm going to take my gamma and I'm going to try to keep that in the center. Go back to my gain, balance it out, go to my lift and something like that. Go to my gamma, level it out a little bit more, and then back to my lift. Gain can come down a little bit. And gamma can go up a little bit. Something like that. I mean, just look at the white line and how even the lower parts are balanced out a little bit and top is balanced out a little bit. And we can see how we pulled out the red out of the image a little bit and even like their clothes. So this is a good balance. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave it. Now what I want to do is I'm going to click on the second tab and I'm going to pull my color boost back quite a bit. Okay, I want to get a lot of the color out of this, maybe somewhere around here. Okay, now if I do before and after, you can see in the sand and in the sky and just anywhere where we had a little gunky color going on or red cast going on, that's all leveled out and we can see it right here. See the white points everywhere. Now the image is way more balanced and quite honestly, almost monotone, which is perfect because this is where we're going to start injecting a lot of color. Now I'm going to go under my sky and I'm going to go under my log wheels. I'm just going to take my highlights and start moving it towards that salmon that I want to add in my image. Okay. So even something like that. Now this is looking pretty good. Let's move the image somewhere around here and now see what it looks like. And maybe I can pull it back a little bit, but something like that. You know, another thing that I'm going to do in this node, or actually in my exposure, I'm just going to take my highlights and I'm going to bring it down to like -15. So this way, it gives me a lot more give with my color. Now I want to park this color somewhere around here. Maybe I can go back into my exposure and I can go into my highlights and I can raise them back up. Something like that. So this is what we created in our sky, right? Maybe I can dial back on the salmon a little bit and just add a bit more orange, like something like that. So it's not too exaggerated and it just feels like it belongs. Now, one thing we can do is we can go into our range and we can start playing around with it. So I can either open it up or I can close it down. So, I mean, I kind of like that. That kind of looks cool, but maybe it's too much. So I'm going to restrict it, keep it somewhere around here. And then if we want to change it even more, we can do that. But I feel like it blends a little bit better. And then I'm going to go under my look. And this is going to be a plain old primaries wheels action. Okay, so I'm going to take my gamma. I'm going to start bringing it down. So I want to create like really cool complementary vibe, okay, with what we had going on. I kind of like that, to be honest. Now I can go back into my log wheels and maybe add a little bit more salmon, just ever so slightly like this. And now if I go back and forth and look at it, I mean, this looks really freaking cool. I can go back into my high range and play around with it and see if I like it less or more. Honestly, I like it when it's restricted. Like something like that, I don't mind that. Let's play around with our colors here a little bit more, okay? So I'm gonna go back into my gamma and I'm gonna start taking it more towards that sort of like a steely vibe, you know? Like add that in there. I'm liking that even more. I wanna go back into my exposure. I wanna take my highlights and bring them down because I don't wanna touch them to the top. Like I wanna keep it under. And now it's looking really good. I mean, if I just like, let's play it through. I mean, it's looking it's really nice. So if I park it here in my talent node, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go create a very subtle window. Okay. It's going to be something like that. Like just watch. It's literally just around my talent, something like that. And what I want to do is I want to go under my curves and let's make this bigger. And I want to lift them out. So something like that. And now I want to blend it in. Okay. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start adding softness until it just blends it really nicely. So if I do before and after, it's a really nice difference. Okay. Now, the only problem with that is that it's taking out the juice from my sky. And I do not like that. So what can we do to get that back? It's pretty simple. I'm going to show you a really cool tip. Creating keys like that is never going to mess up with anything that you're doing. Okay. It's going to be really clean. So high soft, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. I'm going to hit Shift H so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to take my highs. I'm going to start bringing it down. Let's turn on the node so we see what's happening. And let's pull it back until we grab everything but the sky. So something like that. Now, if I do on and off, it's only affecting my guys. It just pops them out, hence the talent node, and it leaves everything else as is. So once we pop our talent out, we don't even have to keyframe it because look at it. They're always going to be in the middle, okay? So this is pretty clean. But now the coolest thing is, remember we did an outside node? This is where the magic is going to happen. I want to create some drama, right? So how do you create drama? I'm going to go into my log wheels. I'm going to take my shadows and I'm going to pull them down. You get what I'm saying? All of a sudden, just a quick little stroke. And look what we had to what we have now. And it's believable. Like it doesn't look like it's coming out of nowhere. It's very believable. Now, the thing that's not believable is when we get to see this shift. Like, look at, boom, that right there. That's what's not believable. So I'm just gonna go here and I'm gonna soften it up until that is not so prominent. So even something like that. And then what I want to do is we can make the size smaller of this window. And another thing that we can do is that we can go back in this node and it doesn't need to be this dramatic. We can pull it up a little bit and split the difference. So somewhere around here. Now it's much more subtle. So if I take these two nodes and turn them on and off, just look at the difference. How much we pop our characters without affecting the sky. And then we add so much more drama here. We shape our lighting in a very natural way. Now it's up to you what you want to do in the sky node. I mean, if you want to add a little bit more salmon and give it a bit more color like such, and just like really keep massaging it until it pops just the right amount. And then we can go here and bring our highlights down a little bit. And then in my talent, one thing that I do want to try is just raising it up a little bit, like maybe keep it somewhere around here. And now let's go all the way through and check it out. All right, so I like that much better. So one thing that I just want to do is pull back on the colors a little bit, just make it a bit more natural, if you will. So I'm just going to go back into my highlights in the sky and start pulling it back a little bit, okay? Not too much. Even just something like that. So this is before and then this is after. Maybe a little bit more. something like that. And then I want to go into my look and I want to go into my gamma and just bring it back a little bit. Yeah. So now if I turn these two on and off. And then one more thing I want to do here is in my high range, I just want to go in and let's see. Okay, so that is good. So I personally think that just looks better. It blends everything in and keeps it more subtle, but still tons and tons of look injected into it, but it doesn't scream it, you know? That's what I wanted to do because color grading is all about subtlety. So you got to find the right balance and then let it be. Don't overdo it. You got to start off with overdoing it and then pull back to a point where it just looks tasteful and it just looks well done. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Let's go ahead and kill all of this and start from the beginning. But the beginning was this, remember? So I have a still that I'm bringing in right now to show you this is how it was when we didn't unlock all the features in our RAW. And then after we did that, we turned it into clip, we converted it into log, we turned on highlight recovery, so we got our highlights back. Then we started with our contrast, showed you a really cool pivot technique here and how to properly use it. Then we went on to balancing our image to pull out some of this red and desat it by using our color boost. And then we went ahead and created a really nice look in the sky by using our log wheels, went into our primaries wheels to create this color contrast with our sky, and then went ahead and windowed out our talent to pull them out a little bit, and then created an outside node and shaped light in a way where it just creates more drama. All right, I want to just go back to this frame and then let's just look at it before and after. So, I mean, this is what was given to us and this is what we turned it into. So guys, the power of color grading, do I have to say any more? Let's check out the final look in full screen. I hope you guys had a blast. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. So this episode probably taught you more than one thing. Being a creative matters the most, but then technical skills also come in handy because if we didn't know how to work with the RAW module, there was just nothing that we could have done. So I feel like having that concept in the back of your head is not necessarily a terrible thing. That said, I also put creativity up there. Creativity drove this grade, and creativity will drive you to work on any project. On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness. Make sure to check that link in the description below. I will see you all in the next video.